The Gods of the Copybook Headings by Rudyard Kipling, and written in 1919. This is Kipling at his sharpest, and honestly, a little ruthless. He's basically saying, you can ignore reality all you want, but it will collect its debt eventually. Here's the full poem. As I pass through my incarnations in every age and race, I make my proper prostrations to the gods of the marketplace. Peering through reverent fingers, I watch them flourish and fall, and the gods of the copybook headings, I notice, outlast them all. We were living in trees when they met us. They showed us each in turn that water would certainly wet us, as fire would certainly burn. But we found them lacking in uplift, vision, and breadth of mind. So we left them to teach the gorillas while we followed the march of mankind. We moved as the Spirit listed. They never altered their pace, being neither cloud nor wind-born like the gods of the marketplace. But they always caught up with our progress, and presently word would come that a tribe had been wiped off its ice field, or the lights had gone out in Rome. With the hopes that our world is built on, they were utterly out of touch. They denied that the moon was Stilton. They denied she was even Dutch. They denied that wishes were horses. They denied that a pig had wings. So we worshiped the gods of the market who promised these beautiful things. When the Cambrian measures were forming, they promised perpetual peace. They swore, if we gave them our weapons, that the wars of the tribes would cease. But when we disarmed, they sold us and delivered us bound to our foe. And the gods of the copybook headings said, stick to the devil you know. On the first Flaminian sandstones we were promised the fuller life, which started by loving our neighbor and ended by loving his wife, till our women had no more children and the men lost reason and faith. And the gods of the copybook headings said, the wages of sin is death. In the Carboniferous epoch we were promised abundance for all, by robbing selected Peter to pay for collective Paul. But though we had plenty of money, there was nothing our money could buy. And the gods of the copybook headings said, if you don't work, you die. Then the gods of the market tumbled, and their smooth-tongued wizards withdrew. And the hearts of the meanest were humbled, and began to believe it was true, that all is not gold that glitters, and two make four. And the gods of the copybook headings limped up to explain it once more. As it will be in the future, it was at the birth of man. There are only four things certain since social progress began: that the dog returns to his vomit, and the sow returns to her mire, and the burnt fool's bandaged finger goes wobbling back to the fire, and that after this is accomplished, and the brave new world begins, when all men are paid for existing, and no man must pay for his sins, as surely as water will wet us, as surely as fire will burn, the gods of the copybook headings with terror and slaughter return. Why this poem still hits today? Kipling's basically drawing a line between two forces. Gods of the marketplace, trends, ideologies, feel-good promises. Gods of the copybook headings, basic truths, cause, effect, consequences, reality. His argument? You can ignore reality, but reality doesn't ignore you. The blunt takeaway. This poem isn't soft, it's a warning. Ignore truth, consequences show up. Chase fantasies, reality resets the score. Human nature doesn't change as much as we think. Kipling's message in plain English: you don't get to rewrite the rules of life. You only get to learn them, or suffer them.
The gods of the copybook headings. There's a truth about life that people keep trying to escape, and every generation thinks they're the ones that finally figured it out. Rudyard Kipling saw it over 100 years ago, the rise, the fall, the same cycle, over and over again, and he gave it a name, the gods of the copybook headings. These gods aren't gods at all. They're the simple truths you learned as a child. Actions have consequences. Work earns reward. Fire burns. Water wets. Basic. Obvious. Undeniable. But at the time my father had me read it, I was lost to understand. Even now that I'm much more knowledgeable about the poem, I discover new truths with each reading. But here's the problem. People get bored with the truth, so they chase something better, something easier, something more comfortable. And that's where the other gods show up, the gods of the marketplace. These are the smooth talkers, the ones who promise endless prosperity, effortless success, peace without sacrifice, reward without work. Kipling watched people abandon reality for ideas that felt good, and every single time, reality came back to collect. Empires collapsed, nations fell, families broke, and people stood there, shocked, as if no one warned them. But they were warned. The gods of the copybook headings outlast them all. You can ignore the truth. You can mock it. You can rewrite it. rename it, cancel it, but you cannot escape it. Because at the end of the day, if you don't work, you don't eat. If you play with fire, you get burned. If you abandon discipline, chaos takes over. That's not opinion, that's reality. And here's the part most people don't want to hear. This isn't about them, it's about you. Where in your life are you listening to the wrong voices? Where are you choosing comfort over truth? Because eventually the bill comes due, and when it does, the gods of the copybook headings will be right there, waiting, like they always are. If this hit you, you already know why. Drop a comment below. Where do you see this playing out today? And if you want more content that cuts through the noise, subscribe, because truth doesn't trend, but it always wins.